All right, you amazing nerds. So tell me, what do you really know about Lolita fashion, Japan's fastest growing fashion subculture? Well, I bet you it's not very much. Either way, we went inside and got you guys the lowdown at Anime North 2014 by checking out the Lolita 201 panel. Let's go inside and check it out.
So we thought that we would talk about current trends in Lolita right now so that we can talk about kind of like what's really popular right now and kind of what's not so popular anymore. But I think that we should preface that by saying that trends are not entirely important. You should wear what you love, and you shouldn't just kind of like follow what you're seeing on the internet and on Tumblr, because there are some issues with doing that, and sometimes you won't be completely happy with, yeah.
And plus, like, I know like some people like, oh, old school is it, but I like old school, especially when it's done well.
Yeah, do you guys know the difference between like old school Lolita and like new school Lolita?
I didn't really get into it personally until late last year. So I'm more attuned to today's more relevant styles. But then again, generally from what I've seen, these have remained more or less the same. I haven't seen much.
Boy style?
Yeah. Boy style has generally remained the same.
Yeah, and I also think that boy style is kind of a newer thing. How long has boy style been around? As long as Lolita, or has it been?
I feel like it's only,
yeah.
Because I don't remember Alice McCart's doing voice forever.
Exactly.
I feel like it's a more recent thing.
Yeah, brands started making clothing for men when they realized that there was a demand for that.
Maybe like 4 or 5 years.
I think
I feel
maybe like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So old school Lolita, for those of you who don't know, it was like, instead of printed stuff like what I'm wearing and what Toya and Courtney are wearing today, there was a lot of like solid colors. The focus was on like the details of the dress. So like you would have a pink dress with like maybe like white lace on the bottom. And what also used to be really popular in old school was those rectangle headdresses. The maxi headdresses. I hate calling them that, but that's what they were. They were like these rectangles that sit on your head with like lace and bows and stuff.
Like ribbons and stuff. Yeah.
And that style has kind of gone out in favor of head bows. None of us are wearing head bows today. But like, you know, those really big like head bows that are like really giant and sit in the middle of your head. Like Angelic Pretty's been doing those. Baby does like the more cascading ones. And bonnets are popular in both old school.
I feel that it's made a good transition between old and new, so it's still popular.
Yeah, and another old school thing was the combination of black and white. And a lot of people talk crap about black and white now, but I think that it can be done really well.
It's black and white. That is, I would say, generally poor stigma from what I've seen is that a lot of like you see store-bought stuff, guys, and the store-bought stuff is like this extremely shiny or very sexualized. Yeah, they're called lace monster stuff.
Yeah.
And like, so when you see, generally if you don't really know what you're looking at, generally you'll see like black and white, and people are just like, look at this lace monster or whatever, right? But that's not actually the case.
Yeah, like there are a lot of people who, I don't know, I want to say don't know a lot about Lolita fashion, who will say things like, oh, all black and white coordinates are Ita, or like ugly. And I think that that's crap, and that kind of shows that they don't really know how to see quality in a garment. They just say like, color combination, not good. So I think that, I hope that it comes back one day. I think it'd be really cool if the black and white made a resurgence in trends.
I was
started wearing it again.
All the details made a comeback. Like they've done a lot of lace, pin tucks and stuff. That's really coming back. So I mean, in solids especially. So I see it coming back kind of like refreshed.
Yeah, that's very true. So the first thing we were going to talk about as being like really trendy right now was kind of like classic and over-the-top classic styles. So kind of in favor of like the more elegant looks rather than like the sweeter like kawaii looks. Those are still worn, but I just feel like right now there are a lot of like long floral dresses that are super popular. Painting dresses are super popular.
Religious iconography.
Religious iconography, like the Julieta Justine stuff that was being sold in the dealer's boutique this weekend. That stuff is really trendy right now. And Baby and the Stars Shine Bright, for some reason, as a brand, is like exploding right now. For whatever reason, all of their pieces are selling for really, really high prices on the secondhand market. Like, there's a dress, I don't know if you guys know it, called Fragrant Rose Memories. I was wearing it on Friday. I took over a year to be able to find that dress for like under $800. Like everybody was auctioning it, and people were bidding it up to like $800 to $1,000.
And that's like prices. Like,
yeah.
But there was a time when like OTT Sweet, like you guys in the front, like your kind of sweet, cute pastel colors, when that was like the trendy thing where every dress was selling secondhand for $500 and you couldn't get that stuff. Like you would go on the Angelic Pretty website at the time that the dresses came out and they'd be gone in like 5 seconds.
Those are the very, very dark days where like everywhere, like I'm gothic, I'm classic, like everywhere sweet. Like, what about me?
What about me? I existed. Yeah, there was totally a period where like OTT Sweet and Sweet were like, people thought that they were like the only Lolita.
Yeah, I was like, what are you wearing? I'm like, gothic.
Yeah.
Like with Milky Planet and Cherry Carnival,
Yes.
it's still like ridiculously expensive, but like I know this dress that I got now, I actually got it on sale new from Angelic Pretty.
Exactly.
So it's not like, I mean, I know like a few years ago I probably wouldn't have paid to do something like that.
Yeah, because Sweet was so in high demand that you wouldn't have been able to. People would have been fighting to get stuff like that. On that dress as well, the Candy Fun Fair.
Yeah.
I feel like the hype for that one like wasn't as high as it would have been if it came out and like.
Yeah, I was able to get it from my dad. Got from the San Francisco store like straight away, no issues at all. And even secondhand and Angelic Pretty, I've been able to get a lot of like printed dresses under $100.
Yeah,
Yeah.
marking them.
Like Rose Lady and Toy Drops and stuff. I've gotten them for like $80 to $100.
And we'll talk about that later when we talk about shopping, like where to find really, really good deals on dresses that like retailed for over $300.
Like, Japanese Japan, I think.
Yes, we'll talk about that in a few. Another trend was like we already talked about long dresses, but putting like long underskirts under your dresses has been really trendy right now. So like a non-printed underskirt to like add another color to the bottom. So for example, on Friday, Stacy was wearing a black Julieta Justine dress, and then she had like a dark purple underskirt underneath. Yeah, and
Is that dark purple?
yeah.
Oh,
Are you, can you come up to the front?
Sure. So yeah, so it's an underskirt. It adds both length and extra frills and ties into the colors. Sort of.
yeah, really good for adding accent colors.
Yeah, and super good for tall people.
Yeah.
Being tall in Lolita is the struggle. It's so hard, especially with Angelic Pretty. And that was one of the things we were going to talk about. We might as well now.
Yeah.
Angelic Pretty's dresses have been getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And it's to the point where I can't even like wear them anymore. And that new Cosmic dress that came out, I don't know if anyone saw Cosmic.
Why is it so short?
Yeah, so it's, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's like a little kind of like baby doll dress, which is
A-line,
super popular right now. Like A-line doesn't really have the waist shape, just kind of like flares out all the way down. And it has little like horoscope constellations all over it. And it was super, super popular. But the dress was 82 centimeters long. This dress is 90, or maybe a bit over 90.
I think 92 is like the standard for Angelic Pretty.
For older Angelic Pretty, but now everything is like going down and down and down. I think 82 is the shortest dress that they've ever released as like a full-length dress.
Is the customer base like shrinking? Like say, oh, we have to like.
No, I was yeah.
I think someone told me like Angelic Pretty, they're trying to make it more accessible, so they're putting like more sharing on things. The problem is they're making it shorter.
Yeah.
Exactly, they're making it shorter, and it's all well and good to put more shirring on things so that people who are larger can fit into the dresses. But the problem is that like when you're like a bit tubbier, or when you have a bigger like bust size, the dresses ride up on your body whether they have shirring or not.
You have to be mad here, people.
Yeah. So I heard from a shopping service in Japan that some of Angelic Pretty's customers are actually complaining, even in Japan, about how short the dresses are getting. So I'm hoping that means that the trend will start to die off a little bit, and they'll start releasing dresses that are a little bit longer. Yeah.
And I feel like that was only really Angelic Pretty. I mean, all the other brands really kept it
We're
the
getting
standard.
longer or staying the same.
Yeah.
But Angelic Pretty really was like, let's go for the showing the knees and the leg look. And I'm not against that. Like, I think that showing the knees and the leg is fine, but I also think that I want to be able to bend over in my dress and not have my butt hanging out. Like, I can't. I don't know. I can't do that. So I haven't bought anything from them in a really long time. All of the dresses that I have from them, like this one, are older releases that I've been buying secondhand.
I think the other thing was like they're trying to sort of appeal to the fairy K crowd. And it's
Yes.
And they're kind of losing their
their Lolita fashion demographic. And I think that maybe that's a little bit smart that they're pandering to the fairy K crowd, because it means that they're kind of hitting two niches instead of one. But they might end up losing their Lolita fan base if they keep making dresses.
Balance before they lose.
Or maybe just do like a side brand that's specific for
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a good idea.
like those mini skirts that they were doing for a while, where it was like, this is not Lolita.
The drop waist ones where they had like the weird.
Yeah, like the
those
little.
ones. They're cute, but I can't. They're too short to wear.
I could never wear them, but I mean, I'm sure the girls in Japan who love
Yeah.
Fairy K would love to like match that with like their cute pastel-y outfits, right? So there was a market for that. It just wasn't really Lolita. And we were going to talk about vintage peignoirs and overdresses. I don't know if you guys have seen that trend. Where, like,
Light me on peignoir, please.
Peignoir, it's like a chiffon overdress that would be like a vintage nightdress that someone in the, I don't know, like 60s would wear to bed over their nightgown.
They're very sheer, just lace at the cuffs.
Yeah, they have puffed sleeves
Yeah.
usually, so they kind of fit the Lolita aesthetic, and then they're like open in the front and usually tied with a ribbon so that they drape over your dress. I think that they can look really nice. A lot of people really hate them. It's kind of like a either you love it or you hate it relationship with the peignoirs, I find.
I think it depends on what you pair it with. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Not every day you have to wear it, but if you can, like, because I think the ones are kind of big in like cults.
Cult party K. So it's like a meshing of two different Japanese fashion styles. So like cult party / Lolita looks.
So it's like if you find something and it will go with it really well, like fine, go ahead. But something it won't.
It does
really
not go
mesh
with
every
everything.
day.
Yes, that's for sure.
And sometimes I find that they're too long for the dresses that people wear them with.
Maybe if you have like a
So
longer.
or like if you hem it so that it comes to basically where your dress ends, then it looks a little bit
Yeah.
better, or like just over.
Yeah.
But when it's too long, then it like drops off at the end and it doesn't have
Yeah.
any shape from the point
it
where
just
your
makes
bell
sense.
skirt ends to the floor, right?
Because yesterday I saw a girl, she was wearing, I think it was the chest. I can't remember what it was.
Chest chocolate?
Yeah, and it
vintage
was,
chocolate.
yeah, I think she was like, it was like mint and brown, and she
Yes.
had the brown hair. I'm like, that looks really cute.
It looked really good. That was Kaylee. I saw her.
Yeah.
She looked
I
great.
said, that's nice.
I wanted to save this topic until Keisha got here, but I don't know if she's gonna get here. So a lot of people have been wearing the religious halo headdresses recently.
I haven't seen any of those, I don't think.
Well, hopefully Keisha will walk in, and then I'll point at her, and everyone can look, and she'll be wearing them. We'll scare the crap out of her. So they're like those like Madonna halos that have like the little kind of spikes.
Yeah, like a
sunburst.
sunburst,
Yeah, like this, it looks like the sunbeam halo. So hopefully Keisha will come, and then we can show you what these Madonna headdresses look like. They're very like saintly, like they're very religious. You typically would wear them with like Gothic Lolita style if you already have like, you know, like church stained glass windows on your dress. I think that's what Keisha
might damn. I might consider pulling from that.
Yeah, well, if you guys come to the fashion show today, Keisha will be walking with one of those headdresses. It's really nice. She added flowers all over it. And a veil.
She could have like rose thorns too.
Yeah, well, yesterday I was wearing the crucifixion, and someone told me, you should wear a rose thorn headdress, and I was like, that might be a little too blasphemous for me. The crucifixion is a Juliette Justine dress that has like a picture of the crucifixion on the front of it, like the painting, and then it has like the writing, like the biblical writing. There are a lot of Gothic Lolita dresses that really borrow from like biblical kind of stories and iconography. So sometimes I feel a little weird about that, but I just love that dress so much. It's really, really beautiful, so I wear it anyway. Okay. Large floral hats are super popular right now in Lolita, and like just like flower crowns in general. Yeah, you'll see tons of those, like the ones that kind of go all the way around your head or sit kind of like a headband, just tons and tons of flowers. And those are super easy to make. You just go to like Michael's or any craft store that sells like those big kind of flowers that you can kind of take, and they're on wires. You pull them off and you kind of string them around like the base wire that you've chosen for the crown, and use floral tape to secure it.
Or if you even get like a regular headband and just get the flower heads,
Yeah.
and just glue it onto the headband.
Yeah, just use hot glue, stick them on. Sometimes they'll kind of come off because hot glue is not the greatest at like holding things down, but
Again, just don't get caught, because you don't want anyone to catch you with the hot glue in yourself. So be very meticulous.
Hot glue strings are the worst.
Yeah.
Having to like pull all the hot glue strings off of things that you've made. I have that problem. And yeah, the floral hats, like people will get those like sun hats that you get with like the small hat part with the very large brim, and then they'll kind of flip them up and add all of these flowers
The feathers are really
and
nice.
feathers.
I saw, like, romantic rose letter cord. just one of those big hats and the feathers. And
Yeah.
it was beautiful.
That girl always does those awesome floral hats, and she does like pirate style tricorn hats that have all the flowers and feathers. Yeah, like really cool stuff. I don't remember her name. I wish I could so that we could look her up.
I can't remember, but it was gorgeous.
She's from Europe. I know that much.
Yeah,
but but that's been super trendy for the last little while. Also, simpler coordinates I find are coming more and more into style. Like not wearing as many accessories as we were in the recent couple years. Like not dumping like tons and tons of little clips on your hair and
rings on everything,
bracelets all up your arm. Yeah, like we've kind of been seeing it kind of dying down a little bit and more of like an elegant suite rather than a super cute suite. I personally like both.
I think that different
both
looks
are good.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I just found that that's been what we've mostly been seeing.
I think because maybe over the top is kind of going out, so that's why.
Yeah.
I've come to like over the top. When I first got interest into the fashion,
That's what got you into it?
I saw it and I was like, I don't really like this. But then I saw a lot of classics and I was like, this is pretty cool. But then I don't know. It grew on me. OTT Suite really grew on me. I've even been considering seeing if I can get a cord of somewhat sweet OG, perhaps.
I think I've kind of seen.
Tremaine did that
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Is he still here? Is Tremaine?
Hi.
He did it. He wore pink and white together once in an OG style, like boy style coordinate. And I was wearing, I think, jewelry jelly or something, and we like coordinated with one another.
Yeah.
So it's possible. It's just really hard to find boy style.
Yeah, that's why I've only been considering, because I figure, again, I keep going into this because the OG has a much smaller market, so there's a much smaller base to find it. So you probably want to, I don't know, if you have the ability, you could probably look into sewing it perhaps. But looking to find stuff is all very difficult. There was another coordinate, a getup of cream that I was looking at getting.
From Dear Celine, right?
Yeah, from Dear Celine. And I was looking to go buy it online, and it was sold out when I had the money, so I couldn't.
Yeah, and it had the vest like the one that you're wearing today, but it was in that nice cream like pinstriped material. I loved that. I wanted to buy that for myself in a girl size, but I didn't get around to that. I regret it.
Another one, and it was like the vest and the pants, and it kind of had like lace. I don't remember.
I think so. It had some lace on the pocket.
I wanted it so bad, but I'm like, no.
A lot of boy style stuff is like geared toward girls, I find.
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Even though it's for boys, it's still in girl sizes because they think that like the girls will want to wear it. Kind of.
Well, I think that it started out going towards girls because there's a certain cuteness aesthetic to having a lady wearing like a short little top hat and pretty much this short hair and stuff. Yeah. It's got a cuteness to it, so they're like, okay, let's cater to that. But then you had a lot of smaller boys would wear it too, right? And it really, I think that really helped to bring out the whole OG style to come out. But it's still catered toward girls because it's just generally a better market. More girls, regardless, will still go to wear OG anyway.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think that the major problem is that when they start making the dresses, or sorry, not the dresses, like the pants and the vests and stuff for girls, then if you have broad shoulders and you're actually a boy, it's really hard for you to like fit into the glasses because your shoulders are just like too wide to be able to. This shirt just barely fits. It looks good though.
Around here, it's actually almost extremely tight, but I just got the sizes just right. It was very difficult. They have the sizes on the website. Honestly, it is incredibly difficult. You always have to custom make. Like my size, you always have to custom make. There's no excuse.
That's one thing too, is like sometimes you just have to go custom.
Yeah,
like,
so
do the custom measurements.
If you're buying online, just a lot of the times I would say like most North Americans are bigger than most Japanese, so you probably have to make custom sizes, so get ready for that extra charge.
It's worth it.
It is worth it. I love this.
I bought too many pretty blouses and custom not fit properly.
Yeah.
Shoulder-wise, it makes me so sad.
Me too, because they just like right up your shoulders.
Yeah, and it just gets really tight around here, so you move around.
Yeah.
And it feels like you're dying because it's just so tight. Oh my god.
I always buy my blouses from either Bodyline or Taobao. Taobao is like a giant online shopping mall based in China and Hong Kong.
And a whole bunch of different shops will have their own little mini site through Taobao, but that's
what I'm wearing is completely from Taobao, besides the shoes which I got from Dr. Martens and the socks that I got from Johnson & Johnson's. This whole thing, if I remember correctly, this is Rose Melody, the best in the shorts. And this shirt was from Ichigo 15. The Rose,
I loved her stuff.
I wouldn't recommend the Rose Melody shirt that's supposed to go with this setup, because when I got it, there was a whole lot of thread coming out all over the place. So, I mean, and it's funny because they're not false advertising. It's, if you zoom into the image, you'll see that lace is coming off all over it, right? It is not elegant. It is not cool. So, like this shirt, they also had, if I remember correctly, on the same site on Rose Melody or Ichigo 15. I think Ichigo 15, and it's fabulous. I recommend if you're going to go Taobao, which we would call them off-brand, yeah.
Well, I guess
that's debatable. I mean, with things like the jellyfish dress that just came out that everybody was in love with from Crowdland Red, like I don't think it's really fair to say that Crowdland Red is off-brand and not a brand.
Well, that's because in general that
it's like a Japanese brand terminology. Like if it's not a Japanese brand, then it's not brand. Kind of thing. But there's still a brand and they're still making awesome stuff.
I'll revise it. I would definitely recommend Ichigo 15. But their stuff actually has, I would say, a 40-60 split between male and female stuff. So you can get like pants and stuff like that.
Cool.
I think I got the last pair of pants that they were making. There was one pair of pants that they were making. I got the last one. They stopped making it, and I was just like, bang.
Awesome. Does anyone not know how to order from Taobao? Put up your hand if you have no idea how to order from Taobao.
Spell it.
T-A-O. T-A-O-B-A-O.
Google it and find the website.
And there are a lot of shopping services that provide services from Taobao. Basically, you need a shopping service to be able to order from Taobao.
Oh, that's the shop that they'll communicate in English.
Yes.
And you can just email them directly.
Usually they don't have English shop staff and they don't ship overseas.
Or your credit cards won't work. Like
that's another problem.
They have almost a completely different set of credit cards in the eastern side. So you would have to generally use them like Taobao Spree, or I can't remember the other one.
Taobao Now, Taobao Ring, and if you Google any of those, if you just Google Taobao shopping service, a lot of them will just pop up for you, and a lot of them are really great. They have like how to use sections so that you can see what you do. Some of them have like a shopping cart.
Taobao Ring has a shopping cart system. You just like find your link, you paste it in, and you just like, and then you have like a little section.
Also has that.
Yeah, with like a note.
Oh, and a lot of, I would say that their service is rather impeccable. You, the only thing that might be a problem is that the time, right? The time you might send a message at like now, but you wouldn't get the response for that message until like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning or midnight or something.
Yes.
Right? Because obviously
time zone difference,
right? So
unless you're like a late night owl and just like you're up at 2 a.m.
No way, man.
Tips for Taobao. The price that you see on there is usually in either Hong Kong dollar or Chinese yuan. And then you can plug that number into XE currency converter to see what it is in Canadian dollar. But don't think that you're going to be paying the amount of the item and that's it. You also have to pay your shopping service. Usually it's 5 to 10%. 8% is one of the more competitive rates right now from good shopping services. Of that price to the shopping service to do the work for you. And then you're also going to need to pay for shipping, which can be really expensive from China.
Yeah, so they charge for the weight. Like, be prepared.
Yeah.
Or like look around elsewhere.
And it is 2 shipping charges. It'll be from the seller to the shopping service to you. So there's a lot of fees involved. So definitely, most of them you can ask for a quote and they'll give you an estimate, so you know the final price you'll be paying.
Yeah, so always overestimate a little bit so that you know what you're going to be paying and you're not going to be surprised by the final price.
Be diligent with your sizing too. Yeah. Because these shoes, I wasn't supposed to get these shoes. The other pair that I was supposed to get, I also got off the Taobao shop. But I made the mistake of thinking that I was still wearing size 13s. I'm wearing size 14s now, which makes no sense, as you're supposed to be. You're supposed to stop growing roughly, I don't know, 21. And apparently I've grown a shoe size, so be very diligent with that because you don't want to order. You don't want to wait for your meet. Your meet's supposed to be in January, and you ordered all your stuff, and then you get your shirt or you get your blouse, and it's just this thing that cannot fit. You will not be able to get a new shirt at this point. So nail it the first go.
Know your measurements, measure, and everything, because Taobao, they generally deal in centimeters.
Yes,
not inches. So get like your measuring tape and measure and write it down.
Measure your bust, measure your waist.
Measure your feet too.
Yep.
The shoe sizes.
Don't be like me, ordering shoes that can't fit.
Yeah, so the shoe sizes on Taobao and on Japanese brand websites are usually in centimeters as well. So you just take the measuring tape, you put it at your heel, and then you put it to the point of your longest toe, and that's how many centimeters you are. And then I always just overestimate just a little bit, because if the shoes run small, you want to make sure that they'll still fit you. So the shoes I'm wearing from Taobao today are a little bit big for me, but I put an insole inside, and that's just kind of how I deal with that problem. Better to have big shoes than shoes that are too small and going to give you blisters. Yeah.
Especially if the toe is narrow. I find because my feet's kind of broad, so I may have to like go up a size.
Me too. Yeah. So always keep that in mind. The same things that you would keep in mind for buying heels here, you would keep in mind for buying shoes online, because you can't try those on. You can't see how they're going to feel. So when you buy things online from Taobao, Japanese brands, kind of anywhere, Bodyline even, sometimes they just don't work out, and you may want to sell that item, but you might not know where to sell it or what to do. So I wanted Courtney, because she's the moderator of the EGL Com Sales community, to talk about
live journal. Yep. So our community is one of the bigger ones for international. We have our main EGL live journal, which is you'll see a lot of posts, brands coming out releasing new things, people asking discussion questions, different topics that we'll run each month to kind of generate discussion. And then from that, we also have sub-sites. We have a feedback site, and then we have our sales site. The sales site, I'm pulling something up. The sales site is moderated by us as well, and the format is a little weird because it is an online blog site. So I mean, you're posting your site, your post like in a blog. So you list, you have to link your pictures, you have to link everything. It's not just basically, it's not like eBay. So you really have to write out your entire post. We are really friendly as the moderator team. I mean, we welcome questions all the time. I know a lot of people are really intimidated by us. I mean, we're here to help you guys. So I mean, I tell people anytime you have a question, PM one of us, absolutely will answer you guys. I don't want to turn people away from that. Because we do get a lot of people who, it's a long list of rules that you have to follow, but I mean, any questions you have, we're definitely here to help. You know, some commonly misread rules, and I mean, we're more than happy to explain anything and absolutely everything to you guys.
I think we all would agree that everyone wants to look pretty, so it's in everyone's best interest to make everyone else look pretty.
We're putting the URLs for these websites on the kind of WordPad so that you guys can see them and write them down if you need to know where you can go to buy and sell your stuff. As far as EGL Com Sales goes, I love it. The moderator team is so fantastic about like potential scammers, people who might be out to steal your money, because there are people on the internet who may say, like, for example, I have this dress, PayPal me this much money and I'll mail it to you, and it turns out that they've just stolen that photo from somewhere else on the internet, and now they're saying that they have it, but really when you pay them, they won't actually ship you anything. It's happened before. There's been more than one. There are more good sellers than bad sellers, but there are still bad sellers, so you have to be careful. And the moderator team is always there to help you.
Yeah, we'll definitely have. Live Journal, one of the great things about it is when you post a comment or a post, we can track your IP address. That's one of the things that we can see as the moderator team.
Yeah,
so we can see people who have more than one account and are trying to scam people. And if a scammer has more than one account, we can track it down and make sure everybody knows who not to buy from.
And there are also other online platforms, like there's a Facebook community called Lolita Sales in English that's really popular right now. Yeah. I like it, but at the same time, there are less security, like there's no feedback service on Lolita Sales in English, so all of the feedback is from EGL Com Sales. But if someone screws you over on Lolita Sales in English, you can't put that feedback on EGL Com Sales.
There's a great, if you don't know Google, if you type site and then a colon and then you go eglsales.livejournal.com and then a space, you can put item names, prints, and you can search only posts or only sites. Yeah.
Oh, I think Another time after there was like the thing about the replica ban on common sales.
Oh.
It's the same. I'm not interested in purchasing replicas, but I'm just curious. Does the Facebook group allow them or not?
I think
yes, they do.
Yeah, they do.
It's not as heavily moderated as EGL com sales. The reason why replicas got banned off EGL com sales is because one of the brands, I'm pretty sure it's Angelic Pretty, I think it's common knowledge now that they were the ones that approached them, said that they were really unhappy about the fact that replicas of their items were being sold on EGL com sales, and that it didn't really show solidarity from the international community to allow that, so the moderators no longer allow that.
Yeah.
So that's...
Yeah, it was pretty much legal action could have been a factor, so we made that decision to not allow replicas anymore. Yeah, and I feel like because we were one of the bigger sites, we were targeted. So I mean, as other sites are getting more popularity, I mean Lace Market, which is a newer site, they don't allow replicas at all, and I believe because it's getting to be a bigger site.
Yeah, and I hope you understand from a business standpoint why they did that, because they want to sell their stuff, even though it's really expensive, they still want to sell it. So like having replicas all over the place, just.
Is there still like Facebook or whatever, which is supposed to be like?
Yeah. It's supposed to be like a Facebook for Lolitas.
For Lolitas.
Yeah, you have to get an invite.
Yeah.
Is it still on the invite system?
I think so. I don't know. It was really hard to access.
I think that they did that. I think the reason why they did the invite system was to create hype and also to make sure that everyone getting in was going to be active there.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much that worked really in the long run, because it seems like it's kind of dropped off in popularity because a lot of people who wanted to get in could never get an invite. Yeah. So it ended up making people feel like it was an exclusive community, and then they started kind of not really wanting to be on there anymore. And then it started kind of getting like dying down a little and a little, and I think it's still up there, but it's definitely not as well frequented as it was in the beginning.
It was just a loop for me, and it was like, oh.
I also found that the interface was really confusing. Like, I would go into Lace Market and not really know what I was supposed to do there.
You mean Lacebook?
Yeah, Lacebook. Like, I would go on there and I would not really know like what to do. Like, you could post pictures of yourself. There was like a blog section, but I didn't really know how it worked.
So one site that's really good for resources is Hello Lace.
Sad news though, Hello Lace is kind of dying. They're not really posting new things on there anymore. So for example, a new dress that came out recently.
They haven't posted anything since like 2012.
Yeah, like Cosmic wouldn't be on there.
The wardrobe section isn't that good, but it's good to find like a specific for shop lists and stuff.
Shop lists, yeah, and
like,
stock pictures.
And Taobao.
Yeah.
There is, however, Lollibrary.
Yeah, Lollibrary.
And that is very well updated all the time with new stuff, and you can find everything on there. Not just dresses, you can find accessories, headdresses by name, jewelry by name, socks by name.
And not even only brands, I mean lots of tabloid brands are on there now. Yeah, it's great for
Hello Lace used to be the place for it.
But
I would say that Lollibrary is a new one, though I've only recently ever seen it. Because I was using Hello Lace for a long time, and I actually went to Taobao and just decided to go from there. I'm pretty decent with that kind of
I know like back in the day, like LolitaFashion.org was a thing. Their forums are mostly new people who eventually kind of leave, and it's kind of like
cycles.
Yeah.
There's like even
there's a lot of people
like it's just not used anymore.
There's a lot of like, what is Lolita information on there? What are the substyles?
Though.
So like beginner stuff.
So it's very
it's ancient.
I wanted to, because we're kind of running out of time, I wanted to switch into revitalizing your petticoat, because that's something that a lot of people tend to ask about.
I don't know about that.
So when you're wearing a Lolita dress, you would have a petticoat to make it puff out this way. This is a cupcake-shaped petticoat from Classical Puppets. They're really big and they're really awesome. They do a lot of poof. But for the more classical and elegant dresses, you would want an A-line petticoat so that you don't have that like big belt kind of cupcake shape.
It's kind of small. It's not as big as hers, which I'm kind of sad. But it's like
it goes a little bit more straight down. And A-line petticoats and cupcake petticoats can deflate in the same way. So as you wear them, as you sit on them, as they go through their lives as petticoats, they start to kind of become sadder and sadder and sadder. And there does come a point where you just have to buy a new one. But in the meantime, while you don't want to do that, there's a trick on how you can kind of fix it and make it poofy again. So what we usually do is we get an umbrella, and we open it all the way, and then you would spray your petticoat with stiffen spray, which you can buy at Fabricland or like starch, but I think that stiffen spray is the best stuff that I've ever used. You spray it all over until it's wet, and then you put it in the umbrella, laying in the shape that you want it to sit on your body, so that it assumes the rounded shape of the umbrella, and let it stiffen in kind of that position. And then when it's done drying in the umbrella, probably like about an hour, you hang it upside down. And you should like—
great for storage also.
Yeah, you should always store your petticoats hung upside down, so that when you flip them right side up, they're poofy from all of the air being flowing down that way, and now turning around and flowing down the right way. And that will make it so they don't like flatten over time.
Yeah, gravity will kill them.
Yeah, but no petticoat lasts forever. Like even brand petticoats from Angelic Pretty die.
Yeah, eventually a while you're just gonna have to say
I have to say though, the one I had from H. Natto, I feel because they used a lot of layers, mine I've had for like years, and it's like still big.
Do you only wear one?
This is only one.
Wow.
This is
That's
only
pretty
one.
good.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a couple years old. I bought it secondhand to begin with, so yeah, I wouldn't say great things
I
about
think
it. But
we
it
will
is.
soon have the technology for immortal petticoats.
Are brand petticoats as good as classical puppets?
Now do you have an Angelic Pretty
This
petticoat, right?
is, believe it or not, a deflated Angelic Pretty cupcake petticoat.
Wow.
And I'm using
Yeah,
it for classical Lolita and for minimal food.
Yeah.
This is a dead petticoat.
Yeah, it's pretty dead, but it looks good with searching for Baroque.
Yeah, it suits this dress, but
Classical puppets is fantastic because they're not that high priced. The only thing about classical puppets is that they're heavy, so the shipping is expensive, and they're on Taobao, so you have to use some sort of a shopping service to
more
buy
at the time, because I heard a lot of people like say like and then some petticoats may come with like a cigarette smell.
Oh.
Ew.
Yeah, I guess because they're smoking and they're sewing at the same time.
Well, you can't I think you can get it.
So you have to like air it out if that happens.
It can get a little rough.
Yeah.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm well, yourself?
So we have like 4 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions for us, or no? Pretty good.